Lucy, and welcome back to the GameSpot stage here at E3 2015. I'm so excited, I can barely get my words out because joining me here today is Lena, senior producer at DICE, on kind of the big splash, one of the many big splashes, but certainly the big splash because it's coming this year, Star Wars Battlefront. Lena, how are you finding E3? This is your first E3, you were telling me.
This is my first E3, and I'm finding it, quite spectacular, to be honest.
I mean, you can't go in either hall without seeing Star Wars. And I was here this morning when the hordes ran in, and they went straight for Battlefront. What's that kind of reaction like, especially like as developers, to see something you've labored over being loved like that?
I mean, obviously, at DICE, we're such fans of Star Wars, and we're so proud to have been given this opportunity to work on this game. And we've, poured our hearts and souls into this project for a long time, and we've been so longing for the opportunity and the day to actually give others the opportunity to play it. And the reaction that we've had so far with both of the multiplayer trailer, but also the missions trailer, and how people have seen the game, how people have been playing the game, and how happy people seem to be. To me, it's amazing, and I just wish my entire team was here, that they would be able to see and feel what I'm feeling right now. But it's been absolutely amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about how the opportunity came about. Did you guys have to lobby for Battlefront? Did EA just kind of throw it open to all the studios and say, hey, we've got this really big franchise that people kind of love. Who wants it? Who wants dibs?
I think that for us, we obviously, I mean, we're building two, we're known for building Battlefield and we're building Mirror's Edge, and as a studio, when the opportunity arose, we were in, hard at work in development on PS4, we were delivering Mirror's Edge, and but when we heard that the franchise was up for grabs, so to speak, that EA had struck a deal with Disney and was going to bring, Star Wars experiences to gamers through various franchises going forward. We were kind of the obvious choice, I think. Yeah. I think that, people understand that the Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2, they were, in many ways spiritually related to Battlefield. And so it kind of was a bit of a case of the franchise coming home, so to speak.
Yeah.
In that sense, but we, kind of put our hands out there and said, hey guys, we should do it.
Yeah.
And we got to make it, and that's been a pretty amazing experience so far.
So it was announced back in 2013. We saw the first trailer really last year, and then we had a little bit more at Star Wars Celebration, and now we have actual gameplay. This is the survival, I believe.
No, this is the multiplayer on Hawk.
The multiplayer.
Yep.
And people are getting their hands on it now.
Yep.
Because it's not long until it's out, which is a great thing.
Yep.
So how are you, I mean, when you're deciding what to show, is this what encapsulates your Star Wars?
I think that, what this shows is that it hits on the note. What we wanted to do with the game was that we wanted to immerse players in their Star Wars battle fantasies. And this mode, Walker Assault, is the sort of the quintessential mode, in the sense it's a big mode. It's 40 players. It's infantry. It's vehicles. It's walkers. It's starfighters. It's heroes. It's all of the ingredients, in its most epic sense. So in that way, we wanted, and it's on Hawk. Obviously, the mode is inspired by the Battle of Hawk.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we wanted to show. That we wanted to show. Yes, we're super true to the the visuals and the original trilogy, but we're there's a twist. You get to play it your way. You get to do things that aren't strictly true to what happened in the movie, etc. So we felt that would be a great experience to bring to E3.
Was that in a way more freeing than kind of making an experience that was just you replicating what we've seen in the movies? And it allows for player freedom, I guess.
Yeah, and I think freedom is so incredibly important in games, and I think various types of games have various restrictions on the design and the experience. But I think that yes, you want to be immersed in the universe that you know and love, and that's why we're bringing you to Endor, and we're bringing you to Hoth, and we're bringing you to Tatooine, but we're also bringing the vehicles. I mean, you're seeing an AT-AT on Tatooine as an example, which you've never seen before, which you will see in our game.
Kind of canon bending.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, in a way, or it's more about sort of giving you all of the familiar ingredients in a way, and allowing you then to make out of them what you will. How you play the game your way, have the experience that you want. You want to take on do you want to take on Boba Fett as Luke Skywalker? You can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that was the great match. It's right now. We saw in the EA press conference Luke Skywalker just walking right up to Darth Vader in a moment that could only really be possible in the middle of a big battlefield, a moment that could only be possible in a kind of video game, and it allows you the freedom to do that.
Yep.
So let's talk a little bit about, the legacy of the original games. Was it kind of a pressure to keep that? I mean, those games were incredibly popular. I mean, both critically and commercially.
Yep.
So was there a pressure to kind of keep it very, very similar, or were you guys desperate to, put your own mark on Star Wars, which is a rare thing for anyone to be able to do?
Well, I think the original games were great, and they were, as you said, incredibly popular and beloved, and by many of our developers as well. And I think, but the fact of the matter is that they were games that were out 2 console generations ago.
Is it that long already?
Yeah, it is that long already, and of course, I mean, gaming as a whole and the genre as a whole has evolved since then. So we felt that the right way to respect the franchise was to sort of, I think we're in many ways keeping the spirit of it, and the spirit of what made Battlefront great, and we're nodding to it in many ways. But we also said to ourselves, we're going to do it the way that we want to do.
So obviously, Battlefield is kind of your bread and butter. What experiences have you taken from that game and kind of poured into Battlefront?
Yes, Battlefield is our heritage at DICE, and I think what's great for us is that we have a team that's a mixture of Battlefield veteran developers and developers like myself that have never worked on a Battlefield game. So we have a mix of people, and I think we take from Battlefield. I mean, I don't think people would argue that DICE is the master of epic scale and vehicular gameplay, and obviously that fits so well with what we're doing here. But at the same time, there are other aspects of Battlefield that we've kind of, how best to say it, we've kind of taken some of the aspects of what made Battlefield great and added them into our game, and then we've gone in a very different direction on other aspects of it. And I think that's a part of the sort of, we want Battlefront to be its own thing, have its own unique idea, and be its own unique experience. But of course, there's a lot that people will recognize. I mean, I think in a way, DICE is a premier developer of FPS shooters, and obviously we bring such a great amount of experience and knowledge to the game.
So let's talk a little bit about fan service.
Yep.
I mean, just being able to pilot an AT-AT, being able to pilot the Millennium Falcon, play as Boba Fett, Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader. I mean, were those moments that you guys, did you have to decide by committee? Because there's so much to take from Star Wars. How did you decide which great bits to put in?
Well, I wouldn't say that we've designed it by committee, because we have a very strong, very competent design lead. But we've basically what we've taken is sort of what to us is the core of Star Wars. And I think, Star Wars is so vast. There are so many things in Star Wars that, are beloved by so many, and so that there are hard choices. But we kind of selected what we felt was the absolute core of Star Wars, and people can then debate that endlessly, whether, this is more core than that, or why do you have this and not this, and, but we can't do everything, unfortunately.
Sadly, people were kind of upset at the lack of a single-player mode.
Yep.
But then again, you guys do have single-player content.
Yes.
But I think one thing you should really be celebrated for is offline split-screen co-op. Let's talk a little bit about that, because that for me is really exciting, because I'm still a person who loves to not have to bring another TV into the room to be able to play co-op.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are, you know, Battlefront is predominantly a multiplayer game, but with the Star Wars Battlefront missions, our ambition is to give players a great onboarding experience in playing what we call the trial missions, which are teaching you to, you know, master different aspects of the game. But then we have what we call the survival missions. And the survival missions, all of the missions you can play either by yourself or, you know, through online co-op or split screen co-op on consoles. But the sort of, you know, the survival mission, as an example, what we showed at the Sony press conference yesterday, and which is playable at the Sony booth here at E3, is this is where you basically, either by yourself or with a friend, take on waves of Imperial soldiers that are also supported by AT-STs and TIE fighters, and so we really wanted you to be able to just jump in and play. Say you're sitting, you know, on a Saturday night with your friends around the house, and you kind of just want to have that experience, you know, that split screen experience. That was super important to us.
It's something that's kind of very missing from modern gaming, I find, especially in first-person shooters. I mean, you know, you want to be able to sit with your friend. Let's talk a little bit as well, because you can split between first and third person, which is obviously a big part of the original Battlefront.
And that's an example, I think, of sort of how we, you know, nod towards the, you know, the original trilogy, and the same with our game mode design. I mean, we've taken no game mode wholesale, but of course we've been influenced by the original games. I mean, how could we not? And that's, I mean, I think that, you know, this is one of the features of the original games that players loved, and we were really happy to make that call, to be able to play in third person as well. And I think, you know, people talk about instant action was a beloved mode. And while we don't have instant action in the exact same way, the intent with the survival mission, as an example, is to give you that same experience of being able to play against AI, you know, jump in and play against AI in a really deep and satisfying way.
So let's talk a little bit as well about the fact that you guys are using photogrammetry.
Yes.
Which, so, game's obviously been made in Frostbite 3, so it looks great, but photogrammetry for me is also incredibly interesting. How have you managed to utilize that to make the game?
We have, I think we've gone to, you know, we've been more extreme in using photogrammetry than I think any other game. I mean, we have, you know, we have an absolutely amazing art team. That's, they're super hardcore Star Wars fans, and you know, for them it's been a dream project to work on. So what we've done is that we've gone to the original locations where the movies were shot to capture trees and rocks and snow and, you know, all of the different natural elements to bring them back into the game. But we've also gone to the archives, the Lucasfilm archives at Skywalker Ranch. That was a terribly hard trip that I needed to make. You know, I had to take one for the team and go there.
Oh no!
Yes,
just have to go to the Skywalker Ranch.
It was. No, I mean, it's one of the incredible benefits of working on a project like this is to get to do things like that. It's absolutely amazing, and the photogrammetry is basically what we, you know, it's a technology where you take whether it's a natural object or a man-made object, such as, you know, imagine, if you will, a lightsaber or Darth Vader's helmet, and you take a bunch of pictures from slightly different angles all around, and then you stitch these images together using software, so that you end up with a 3D model that you can then refine, which then in essence means that you're bringing the real objects into the game world.
It's kind of fascinating as well, I mean, because Star Wars, you need that authenticity, because there are so many passionate fans from the 70s when the movies first came out, and you guys sound like you're doing it right, like you're going the right way about it, and we're super excited to play it. Please tell the lovely audience when it's out, when we get our hands on it, and which platforms.
It's out November 17th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Lena, thank you so much for joining me. Friends, I'm afraid that is the end of day one here at E3 2015. We have had some amazing games on the stage today. Join me, Danny O'Dwyer, Chris Waters tomorrow, because I'm not going to spoil it all here, but we've got some amazing stuff coming up. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow, GameSpot.com. We'll see you then.